Hello YouTube. It's been quite some time, and boy, I've got a little bit of stuff to dump on you here. So I guess let's get right down to it. So everyone is almost certainly wondering, where the heck did this guy go? He came on like over a year ago and said he was getting all into it, getting big, had rearranged his schedule to make more time for this project, and then disappeared off the face of the earth. And never said anything for, over a year. Well, there's a few different reasons for that. Probably the main reason I haven't said anything so far is I was hoping I'd have much better news for myself and for all of you. I haven't actually given up on the project. I've kept trying to work on it. But the main deal is that shortly after my last video, I had something develop in my hands, and I can't even give you much of information on it because my doctors haven't been able to tell me anything. I've been through tons and tons of tests. I've had all kinds of medical scans, all kinds of conductance studies, all kinds of nerve tests. I'm incredibly healthy. I just can't hardly touch a keyboard and mouse, apparently. I'm getting really sick of being told I'm so freaking healthy when I feel like crap all the time, especially at a computer. And so for a long time I didn't even touch a computer because I was really hoping I could get it to go away and figure out a quick solution to this problem and move on, because tons of people develop a problem with their hands. It's a common thing with programmers especially. It's not unusual, but everyone figures out what's going on and they get a solution and they move on. But no one can diagnose me, no one can figure out what the heck is going on. I just can't hardly touch or hold a mouse. I can use a controller just fine, but it's hard to do a lot of things with a controller, especially, Unity programming. I mean, I'm not trying to have some kind of pity party for myself, but it's been a real struggle. Sometimes I can't even sign my name on things. Sometimes I can't type, sometimes I can. Sometimes I can use a mouse, sometimes I can't. Sometimes I can't even delete my emails because clicking the checkmark box on Gmail is far too hard to do. And no one has any information for me. Spent a fortune, it feels like, trying to do it, and I'm now basically completely out of work. I don't do anything because I have no other marketable skills besides my computer knowledge. And thankfully, my wife's quite generous and is taking care of me and being wonderful, but it doesn't feel very good to be sitting around doing nothing. So I've been looking at the combat portion of the game, and one of the things that I've been thinking a lot about is what exactly kind of control scheme, kind of mechanics do we want? I originally talked about some kind of fancy thing that had kind of some inspiration from Valkyria Chronicles, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized that sticking to more of a traditional XCOM combat might make more sense to people, might be a lot easier to implement, and might just fit everything overall a lot better. I mean, the game is originally inspired by XCOM. Why deviate too strongly for no real reason? But then it gets a little more complicated after that, because then you have to look at, well, there's a lot of squad-based tactical combat games that use a setup similar to XCOM. And there's also two different generations of XCOM to look at, and what kind of controls worked better, what would be better to borrow into this game, and that's been a very interesting thing to study and to think about. A lot of people have a real fondness for the old time unit system in the original XCOM, but the new system, with its just two actions as they separate it into, ends up being a lot more concise and simple and in the long run does everything the time unit system really did. I mean, when you were using the time unit system in the old XCOM, you really only moved and shot, or shot twice. You never really had a lot more actions for that unless you got some really trick unit that came with a ton of time units right off the bat, and then maybe you're doing a little bit more. But so I'm a little bit pulled towards the simplicity of such a system, but part of the way the simplicity of that system works is through the ingenious way it uses classes in order to manipulate those actions and to allow each soldier to surpass the limits of the two-action system. And classes may not fit too well with the Foundation. And so it leaves kind of a struggle there. Do you go with something that's granular like the time unit system that might be more appropriate to XCOM, or do you do something that is a lot more simpler, a lot more concise, easier to understand, but probably requires a little bit of conceits and things like classes or such? And I'd love to hear what you guys think about that. I'm really hoping that I can get back into this soon. I've been hoping that for a while. I'm still seeing tons of doctors. I just a couple days ago, they gave me a bunch of injections in my neck to try and release the muscles up there in case they're pinching the nerve and causing trouble in my arms. I haven't noticed much of an improvement from that so far, but there's still a few days to go. They kick in kind of slowly, so I've had a few of these injections in various places, and I mean, there's still other options to pursue and places to go, but it's really interesting to not have any kind of an idea what's going on right now, and to be feeling so sort of helpless and disabled, and yet still have my hands, still pretty much perfect, you know, but I just can't use them. But anyway, I am very sorry that I have not been able to get more done on this project, and I'm really sorry that I didn't have a video out sooner. As I said before, I really wanted to have something more positive to post. I really wanted this resolved so that I could talk to you. I mean, I guess on a good note, I have been trying some compression sleeves on my hands and compression gloves and stuff at night, and sometimes when I'm using the computer, and that seems to be has done the most to help me over the past year and a half of other things with the doctors. Is wearing those seems to have been the biggest help. And that seems to be able to buy me a bit of time on the computer, at least with a mouse anyway. And so it's possible that I might be able to start putting in a little more effort. I'm a little afraid if I push it too much, I might really go backwards in my condition, but I don't know. If I go down, maybe they can diagnose it more easily, so maybe that's a bright side there too. Anyways, thank you for watching, and I definitely don't blame any of you if you're said I was dead, or still say I'm dead, because I feel half dead, and hopefully I'll have much better news for you this year. Hopefully this is a new year, and I can get to the bottom of this, and I can get my hands back and get back to coding, because I surely miss it. Alright, thank you.